Hello everyone. So we're doing more book reviews. I've just read chapter 1 of The Last of the Jedi. I think, what was it again? The Desperate Mission? I think that's what it was. It should be on the screen now anyway. So The Last of the Jedi has had my interest for about a year now, since I finished the Dark Forces novellas. If you kept up with my community posts last year, you know I was reading through them. And they took my interest last year because those books weren't that much longer than the Dark Forces books. So now finally got the first 5 and the 9th, and well, I've read the first chapter of the first book, The Desperate Mission. So this is my quick review, or just review, depending on how long this takes. So we open up with Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine. We kind of get to see how he is. We get to kind of see how he's managing, what's he doing and stuff. We learn a bit about where he's living. He's living in a cave in a canyon. We see that he just doesn't have that energy to be upbeat anymore, to smile or laugh. He just is satisfied when he checks on Luke, sees that he's okay, and that's all he can feel satisfied, even when Luke is laughing and being all happy. Keep in mind, Luke's a baby at this point. He's about 1 year old, because it takes place in 18 BBY. He was born in 19 BBY. But yeah, and he's quite sad, and we get to learn that Qui-Gon is not really. He's frustrating him a bit. Qui-Gon's frustrating him because Obi-Wan just is, I don't have anything else left to do, I'm ready to train him. And Qui-Gon keeps telling him, no, you're not ready to train him. That is exactly why you're not ready to train him. You have nothing else to do, you need to find other things and stuff like that. And we see that he's getting frustrated with that. And as it goes on, we see that he's into the cantina, and he chose his chair very carefully, and he listens into some pilots talking, and the conversation doesn't really much interest them. It doesn't really much interest Obi-Wan. And he's about to, and he pretty much stops listening, and then he finally catches the word of Ferris Olin, who is a former Jedi. And the conversation's talking about how the Empire is, from what I've just trying to remember what the conversations were about, but it was with how lots of different things were going on with the Empire, how travel is becoming quite tight, how they were coming how the Empire's a little less perceptible to bribes, but there's still some out there who are, from what I was gathering in that conversation. And there's lots of different things going on with them. And again, everyone starts to stop listening as he starts to hear stuff about something like Belassa and in the city of Usa, and how there was mass arrests going on because a single person escaped from prison, and how the entire planet had been locked down, and how one of them, a boffin called Wheezy, was stuck there for a week because of this prisoner who had escaped, and turned out to be Ferris Olin, and that's what caught Obi-Wan's eye, hearing the name Ferris Olin, and how he was once a Jedi, and he knew that he was once a Jedi, and that this was and how he was one of the only Jedi left. So again, this was a simple chapter. It was a simple chapter. It was very much learning seeing how Obi-Wan's been managing, and waiting to, and yeah, this is one of those chapters where it's not a whole lot happens, but it does go on for quite a few pages. You know, this is something where it's, if you cut out the extra bits of you could very much shorten down the bits of exposition and cut it down to about 2 or 3 pages at most. But it is one of these ones that is dragged out to about 10 pages, because of course it takes its time given the exposition. But not that that's bad. Not that it's bad at all, but you know, it's sometimes you just want it to be direct to the point. I didn't feel that though with this book, but then again, I haven't really properly sat down and read a story for since what, October, September, around that time when I was reading Skywalkers. I did read Therefore I Am last month, but you know, that was a short story as it was, and I pretty much shot through most of the story in about a single day. After about 2 or 3 days of reading it, and I got about 4 chapters in, and then I went right through to the 12th or 14th, whatever, how many chapters there were on the last day. So yeah. But again, it was a simple chapter for the first book. It was simple. It wasn't complicated. It was simple, and I think that it worked. It was nice to see how Obi-Wan's managing. I knew Obi-Wan was going to be in the book. I knew that. I'm fairly sure he's going to be. I know he's in this one. I know he's in the second one. I'm not sure about the third one. I'm not sure about the rest of the series, but I know he's in the first 2. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how this progresses. And if you know me, I like my Inquisitors. That's why I was looking into these books. So I'm looking forward for Malorum to pop up eventually. Sankor and Hydra as well. So yeah, but you know, that's getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Still don't know when they're going to appear in this book. I know Malorum is in the first 4, but yeah. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Again, this was a good chapter, not too complicated, but it was nice and simple, and yeah. So thank you all for watching, and goodbye.